Hi, my name is Erin Rebello, and as you know, I'm the Consumer Protection Rep here at Great Bank. I'm really glad that you wanted to meet today, President, because I have a lot of ideas that Great Bank can incorporate into our financial strategy to ensure that we're providing the best possible consumer experience and cultivate a very positive public view of Great Bank. So just an overview to ensure we're on the same page. At this time of year, we receive a lot of high school seniors who are going off to college. And as a result, they've already recently opened a bank account with Great Bank, or they will be opening one in the near future. And why is this so important? Well, students account for 20% of Great Bank's population. So it's important that we cause them to become lifelong customers. We really want to ensure retention with our customers, especially from the age of a student. And how do we do that? How do I do that from a consumer protection point of view? Well, I do that by avoiding and preventing identity theft, because this is a really vulnerable population. This is their first time getting a bank account, and we want to make sure that they're protected, especially in the world of online banking. And we want to make sure that they have the tools to advocate and protect themselves, both now and in the future, to ensure success and satisfaction. So first of all, when we're talking about identity theft, what is identity theft? Essentially, it's when someone else takes your personal information without your consent, and it's usually used for fraud or for them to impersonate you. And what information might they take? Well, they might take your social security number, your credit card information, your PIN, and these are all really private things, and they want to stay private. Because there are three main risks to having your identity stolen. I put them into three categories: financial risks, reputational risks, and personal risks. With financial risks, they're the most obvious, and when you think of risks with being your identity stolen, you often think of financial. It essentially means you're damaging your credit, you have a lot to clean up afterwards, and you lose money and time, because although we can help you to recover your money, it takes time and it takes money. Additionally, there's reputational risks, and these can be really severe. So for example, if you have bad credit, that might prevent you from getting a job, that might prevent you from getting a loan, that might prevent you from renting or buying a house, and these can have really huge impacts on the trajectory of your life. And that kind of slides right into personal risks. So if you know your identity is being stolen, that is very stressful, that is very anxiety-inducing, and that can cause depression and really dark thoughts, which can be very serious. And we want to avoid that with our customers. We do not want that to occur. For example, we had a student just a few years ago who had their identity stolen, and it was really stressful. It caused them to be really anxious, and after months we were able to work with them and recover their information. However, this already had a permanent effect. So for example, they had a very poor credit score as a result for a few months, and that caused them to lose an internship, which caused them to be very stressed, and they failed out of their course and actually flunked out of college, which is not what we want at all. So we really want to avoid that, and we want to make sure that they know the risks with identity theft. So with knowing the risks, how can you translate that to being safer? Well, another thing is being educated on who can take your personal information and who you should be able to give your personal information to. So, for example, you might think you want to keep your information safe from everyone, but no, there are certain reasons why you might need to give out your PIN or your social security number. So the first entity who would require your information would be the government. So for example, for taxes, for child support, for government benefits, the IRS requires it, and as well for government programs like loans and pension plan. Your employer would also need it. So for example, to pay you to verify your identity, one important thing to note with employers is that they only need your information after you've been employed. So don't give it if you're just applying. Your landlord would also need it to ensure that you are a trustworthy and credit-worthy renter, to make sure that they know their investment is safe. Your bank would also need it for a very similar reason, because they are a lender, a creditor, and they want to make sure that they're going to get their money back if they lend it to you. And finally, insurance companies might also require your personal information when they're underwriting you or evaluating your risk. But there are also situations where you don't have to give your personal information, because your social security number, your PIN, is very important to you and you don't want to overshare. So for example, if someone is asking you for your personal information, you have to ask them back, well, why do you need it? And maybe you can even look for alternatives that are better and safer for you. So sometimes instead of needing your SSN, they'll just require an ID, which is much safer for you. So it's really important to have that sense of financial literacy. But finally, overall, how do you safeguard your info, especially in such an online world? Well, I have a few general online tips which I would share in the presentation. First of all, you want to protect your social security number and your ID. You don't want to just give it away to anyone. You want to make sure you're asking why they need it, which is something I reiterated from my previous section. Additionally, you want to have secure passwords. So no names, no birth dates. Make sure it's super secure and use a lot of complex digits, a variety of characters, and if you need to, you can even use a super secure password manager. You should also make sure that your email is very secure, because if your email is weak, your strength and your protection is only as strong as the weakest link. So you want to make sure that everything is up to date, everything is safe and strong. You also want to make sure to be attentive of scams and be mindful. If someone's asking for a lot of personal information, if it seems too good to be true, it might just be. And finally, you want to make sure that you're staying attentive of your financial health. So you're looking at your credit scores, you're looking at your bank statements, you're making sure that everything lines up. Because even though these institutions are here to help you, like Great Bank is here to help you, you are responsible for ensuring your finances are in order. So you have to make sure that the onus is on you and that you're responsible for that. And in these ways, you can really protect your money. Speaking of protecting your money, I've actually written a book talking about how you can protect your money, and it's specifically directed towards students, giving tips and everything they need to know. And it's really helpful. It's just the same thing I've reiterated in the presentation, but I think that this could be a really great resource. We could include it as an online resource, send it to all students who open an account with us, just so they know the basics of identity theft. And I think that overall, with these ways, we can improve awareness of identity theft in students at Great Bank. So we can educate students of the risks, we can explain who can request their financial information, and we can show them how to prevent identity theft, especially in a mobile space. In this way, our strategy will improve financial literacy and reduce identity theft at Great Bank, keeping Great Bank great. Thank you so much for your time today. I'll send you a digital copy of this entire meeting to your email, as well as the presentation and the resource I provided. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to call me. My door is always open, and I would love to meet with you again in the future. Thank you again so much for your time, and have a good evening. Bye-bye now.